What drives a leader to walk straight into danger when most would retreat? In the heart of Burkina Faso's conflict-ridden landscape, Captain Ibrahim Traore made a bold and secretive move to Barsalogho, a town once paralyzed by violence. This wasn't just a military operation, it was a mission to inspire, rebuild, and reclaim hope. Chapter 1. A leader redefining leadership. Captain Ibrahim Traore, or TR as he's often called, is no ordinary leader. At just 35 years old, his rise to power has been marked by a relentless drive to protect his people and redefine the role of a leader in a crisis. Unlike many commanders who orchestrate from behind the lines, Traore leads from the front, standing side by side with his soldiers. His leadership isn't just about strategy or battlefield victories, it's about creating a future his people can believe in. Traore's approach to leadership is rare, and it's anchored in empathy. For him, a soldier's worth isn't just in their strength on the battlefield, but in their understanding of the people they fight for. This empathy has shaped his decisions, ensuring that the focus remains on restoring dignity to those who have suffered. His ability to balance military brilliance with compassion has set him apart in a world where leaders often lose touch with the people they serve. Chapter 2. The context of Barsalogho. Barsalogho, a town in Burkina Faso's Sanmatenga province, has become the epicenter of violence and tragedy in recent years. The town has been plagued by the activities of armed Islamist groups, particularly the Group for Support of Islam and Muslims. On August 24, 2024, the world's attention turned to this small town as a massacre unfolded. The attack, conducted by JN1M fighters, left a trail of devastation, with hundreds of civilians killed and injured. Survivors recounted the horror of being hunted down, executed, and buried in mass graves, a grim reminder of the deep-seated conflict in the region. Witnesses provided harrowing accounts of the violence. JNM fighters, armed with Kalashnikov rifles, stormed the area, targeting civilians indiscriminately. Videos showed men in a trench being executed. The footage revealed scenes of unimaginable horror, with at least 133 bodies visible. Many of the victims had been forced into labor, digging trenches for their own supposed protection. Chapter 3. Tragedy in the Trenches. The trenches, originally intended to protect Barsalogho from Islamist attacks, became the site of unimaginable suffering. Civilians, many coerced into digging these trenches, were caught in the crossfire. The 47-year-old farmer who played dead under the weight of 2 corpses painted a picture of sheer desperation. Others, like a 42-year-old woman, recounted the systematic execution of her brothers. The attack claimed lives indiscriminately, with women and children among the victims. A 48-year-old mother lost her daughters, aged 15 and 13, in the chaos. The brutality of the massacre shattered families and communities, leaving survivors to grapple with their grief. Satellite imagery confirmed the aftermath, showing a surge in individual graves across Barsalogho's cemeteries. Some unidentified victims were buried in mass graves near a telecommunications tower, their final resting place marked by an increase in graves visible from space. The human cost of this attack cannot be overstated, with at least 300 people injured and countless others displaced. Chapter 4. The role of the military. The Barsalogho tragedy raises uncomfortable questions about the role of Burkina Faso's military. Survivors accuse soldiers of failing to protect them. Reports suggest that the military forced civilians to dig trenches without pay and resorted to beatings to compel compliance. On the day of the attack, witnesses reported that the military ignored warnings from women who had spotted armed men near the trenches. When the attack began, military reinforcements were insufficient, and many soldiers remained at their base. Survivors described the military's response as inadequate, leaving civilians vulnerable to the assault. The Justice Minister's response claimed that the military had deployed forces to protect the population during the trench construction and provided reinforcements during the attack. However, witnesses contradicted these assertions, stating they saw no air support or meaningful intervention. The failure to distinguish between civilians and combatants by JNM, coupled with the military's shortcomings, created a perfect storm of violence. Chapter 5. The secret mission to Barsalogho. In a move that shocked even his closest advisors, Traore decided to visit Barsalogho. This wasn't a grand, publicized mission. It was quiet and deliberate. He wasn't there to assess the situation from a distance or deliver a generic speech. Instead, He immersed himself in the realities on the ground, connecting with soldiers and civilians alike. His presence was a defiance of fear and a declaration that Barsalogho could rise again. During his visit, Traoré didn't sugarcoat the challenges. He addressed his troops with clarity and purpose, reminding them that the fight was far from over. His words weren't just orders, they were a call to action. A reminder that their mission was about more than reclaiming land. It was about rebuilding lives and giving people the freedom to dream again. Chapter 6: The Aftermath and Global Implications. The Barsalogho massacre has reverberated far beyond Burkina Faso, drawing international condemnation and calls for accountability. Investigations revealed glaring inconsistencies in the government's narrative and highlighted the plight of civilians caught in the crossfire. The Justice for Barsalogho Collective, formed by residents, estimated that up to 400 civilians were killed, while CNN cited a French government assessment placing the death toll at 600. These conflicting numbers underscore the challenges of documenting atrocities in conflict zones. The international community has called for stronger measures to address the root causes of violence in Burkina Faso. The reliance on civilians for security, as seen in the forced labor for trench construction, exposes systemic weaknesses in the country's defense strategy. The Barsalogho tragedy is a stark reminder of the urgent need for comprehensive reforms to protect vulnerable populations and prevent future atrocities. Amid the horror, stories of resilience and survival have emerged. Medical personnel in Barsalogho and Kaya worked tirelessly to treat the wounded, with some being evacuated to Ouagadougou for specialized care. The director of the Kaya Regional Hospital issued an urgent plea for additional resources. Chapter 7: Barsalogho's Transformation. Traoré's visit marked a turning point for Barsalogho. Once a town haunted by violence, it began to wake up. People started moving freely, reclaiming spaces that fear had taken from them. This transformation wasn't just about military victories, it was about restoring hope. Barsalogho's revival is now a blueprint for the rest of Burkina Faso. It's proof that with the right leadership and a united effort, even the most devastated places can recover. Traoré's strategy goes beyond securing territory. It's about rebuilding communities and ensuring that peace isn't just the absence of violence, but the presence of prosperity. Chapter 8: Burkina Faso's Road to Peace. While Barsalogho's success is inspiring, the reality is that Burkina Faso still faces significant challenges. The country has been ravaged by insurgent violence for years, and the journey to peace requires more than military victories. It demands a collaborative effort involving soldiers, politicians, and civilians. Traoré understands this better than anyone. His leadership has sparked a national movement toward peace and reconstruction, but he's also realistic about the road ahead. There are still areas of the country that remain unsafe, and resistance to change lingers. Yet, Barsalogho's story proves that progress is possible. It's a beacon of hope for other towns and communities still trapped in conflict. Chapter 9: Challenging Western Influence. Traoré's leadership isn't just transforming Burkina Faso internally, it's sending shockwaves across the globe. His decision to expel French military bases and cut ties with exploitative foreign corporations wasn't just about reclaiming sovereignty, it was a bold challenge to the West's historical playbook in Africa. For decades, Western powers have maintained influence over African nations through economic dependence and political manipulation. Traoré's actions have disrupted this cycle, signaling that Burkina Faso is no longer a country to be controlled or exploited. By ensuring that decisions about resources and policies are made by Burkinabe leaders, he's rewriting the script of African governance. This move has resonated far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. It's inspiring other African nations to question their dependency on external powers and consider their paths towards self-determination. Traoré's leadership is becoming a symbol of resistance to neocolonialism, reminding the world that Africa's future lies in its own hands. Chapter 10: A Nation Reclaiming Its Future. Barsalogho's transformation is just the beginning of a larger journey for Burkina Faso. Traoré and his team are committed to extending the restoration of hope to every corner of the country. Their mission isn't just about military success, it's about creating a foundation for lasting peace and prosperity. The challenges ahead are daunting, but Traoré's vision remains clear. Each victory adds another layer of trust and stability, bringing the nation closer to reclaiming its future. His leadership is a declaration to the world that Burkina Faso is ready to rise, not just as a symbol of resilience, but as a leader in Africa's push for self-determination. Chapter 11. The ripple effect across Africa. Traoré's impact goes beyond Burkina Faso. His actions have sparked a ripple effect across the continent, encouraging other African nations to rethink their relationships with external powers. By breaking free from the remnants of colonial control, Traoré is paving the way for a new era of African independence. This shift isn't just about political sovereignty. It's about economic and cultural liberation. Traoré's leadership is a reminder that Africa's strength lies in its people and their ability to chart their destinies. The message is clear. The days of unchecked foreign influence are over. Chapter 12. What's next for Burkina Faso? The future of Burkina Faso under Captain Traoré's leadership is filled with promise, but also significant challenges. Barsalogho's success is a powerful testament to what's possible, but the journey to peace and prosperity is far from over. Traoré's focus remains on creating a nation where peace isn't just a temporary state, but a lasting reality. His efforts to rebuild communities, support local leaders, and inspire unity are laying the foundation for a brighter future. The question now is not whether Burkina Faso can rise, it's how far it can go. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's secret mission to Barsalogho is more than just a story of military success. It's a testament to the power of bold, compassionate leadership and a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope can prevail. What do you think of Traoré's approach? Could his leadership be the key to not only transforming Burkina Faso, but inspiring change across Africa? Let us know in the comments. If you believe in stories like this that challenge the narrative and shine a light on the resilience of nations and leaders, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth stories about culture, history, and the fight for a better future.